Hello. Good morning. I saw the special requests for Nataraja, dancer pose. So I'm excited about that. We'll include that today. And to lead up to dancer, we want to have a lot of length in the hip flexors and openness in the quadriceps. Good morning, Pat and Bob. Thanks for dropping a special request. Hi, Mom. So let's go ahead and get started. I grabbed a strap and also a block. And I go back and forth with how often I want to teach anything with kneeling in Virasana, in seated warrior, but I think we're gonna just give it a shot today. We won't stay real long, but it's so great for, like I said, lengthening the quadriceps, the hip flexors, opening up that whole area, which you want open when you go into dancer pose. You also want your shoulders open for dancer, so we will focus on that area as well. So kneeling, if you have your block, you want to take the block in between your ankles horizontally, okay, right back here. And then you want to roll your calves kind of out away from the back of your knee, kind of down, back, and out. And then you sit on your prop. Now, one block may not be enough, right? So if you have pain in your knees, you want to elevate your hips even more to give the knee joint more space. So you can take a pillow that you have close by. You could have a blanket over your block. You just want to play with adding props until you feel like your knees are cool and they're not going to give you a hard time. Okay, we're going to start just in seated Virasana. We're going to breathe here for about a minute, and then we're going to kind of lean back and start to open the quadriceps a touch. So sit nice and tall. Feel the space grow between the tailbone and the crown of your head when you inhale. And feel your outer body, like the tops of the shoulders, start to soften as you exhale. Inhale, create some space between the floating ribs and the head of the hip bones. And as you exhale, draw the belly slightly back, toning the abdominal area just a bit. Inhale and create space between the ribs, the front, the back, and the side ribs. Exhale, feel your chin slightly tuck and the muscles of your face soften. Keep your focus on the movement of your breath and the sensations of the breath. We're going to gently draw the palms together right in front of the heart. Inhale and lift through the top chest. And as you exhale, bow the face down to gaze within. And then release the palms down and gently open the eyes. So I said I have a strap. If you have a strap or a dog leash or a belt, you might want to grab that. If you don't, you can do this without any prop. So we're gonna open the arms wide, nice length through your inner arm from the collarbone to the wrist. You're gonna inhale, arms up, overhead. You're gonna exhale as the arms go down and back. Inhale, arms overhead. Reach with the sides of your chest up, and then exhale, keep the chest lifted as you lower the strap down. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, grow those ribs up away from your hips, and exhale, keep the chest open as you lower your hands. Inhale, opening, exhale, releasing back. This is great for getting a lot of blood flow to the whole shoulder area. Starts to warm up the muscles in your chest, side muscles of the chest. And it helps us link the movement or sync the movement with our breath. We'll come up overhead. We're gonna kind of teeter the strap over to one side. Like I said, you don't have to have a prop. You can do this same action without a prop. And other side. If it feels good to lean that top arm back a bit and really open through the armpit, then lean into it a touch. And overhead, exhale, and come down. Now, if your knees are getting kind of, they're talking to you, come forward for a moment, open up the back of the knee, and then we're gonna come back down, but we're gonna draw one foot out. So you're gonna stack one foot in front, heels kind of in line with that sit bone of that side, and you're gonna lean back into your fingertips behind you, okay? Now we really wanna make sure that we are grounding through the inner knee that's on the floor. You're grounding through and lengthening through your inner thigh. Now, some people feel a lot of sensation right away. So if that's happening, you just stay where you are, and if it's too much, you can come up and just sit upright or maybe just lean back a little tiny bit. If you want a little more sensation, then you pick up your buttocks slightly, scoop the buttocks under, like you're lengthening the tailbone toward the knee, and you'll get more sensation in that quadricep. All right, you don't have to lean back real far, real deep to start to lengthen out those muscles of your thigh. You just lengthen the tailbone and you scoop the buttocks. Some people like to keep leaning back to the forearms or all the way down onto the floor. You totally can do that as well. Take 2 breaths, lengthening through the inner knee, grounding the inner knee down, and then we'll walk the hands up, and we're going to tuck that front foot back, hugging it in close to the outer hip, and then remove your other foot, heel in line with the buttocks, sit tall, and come back to the fingertips perhaps. Then scoop the buttocks under, lengthen the tailbone toward the inner knee. You can sit the buttocks back down, but keep that action of the whole pelvis kind of tucking under. Focus on the breath, lengthening that inner thigh toward the inner knee as that area grounds toward the mat. Take 2 more breaths. And then we'll walk back up to a seated position, and we're going to take our props out to the side. So you can just lean forward onto your shins, onto your knees. Remove those props out. We're going to take the hands up to the hips, stepping your right foot forward. And we're going to go in and out of a lunge. Okay, you're going to exhale as your hips come down and forward, and inhale when you pick them back up. One more time. Then let's pause with the hips down and forward. You can press into this thigh or even lengthen out the front arm or the right arm into the knee and start to open the chest. Could take the left hand, fingers facing up, around to the top of your left hip. So it's kind of like the top of the buttocks and the low back, and gently push into that as you straighten the front arm and you start to lean back, already preparing for dancer as we open the chest and we open and lengthen the back. Then chin comes back to neutral. We're gonna stack the back hip over the back knee, lifting your front toes. Fingertips come down to frame around the middle of your shin, and inhale, open your chest, look up. Yeah, exhale, gently bow the head down. Tune into the breath. Inhale, come up. You're gonna flatten that front foot, hips go down and forward, really lengthen that back hip flexor, arms alongside the ears, spinning those pinkies toward the midline. Look up and ground into the top of that back foot. And ground into the big toe mound of your front foot and lengthen the breath up from the navel toward the crown of your head. Exhale, take your hands down. You're gonna flip the toe behind you and step right into downward dog. Holding here for about 5 breaths. Feel free to kind of pedal out the legs if you need to. And then focus on lifting those sit bones nice and high. Broadening your upper back by moving the shoulder blades away from each other. Wrapping the tricep externally around the upper arm. And then we'll bend the knees, look forward, step your left foot up, lower your back knee, walk the hands up the thigh, and then we're going in and out of a lunge. Exhale, forward, inhale, belly in and up, exhale, inhale. I see my cat at the door and I'm really tempted to ignore her. She's been crazy today, running under my feet. She bit me like 6 times during the night. Kind of like, yeah, you can stay out. Okay, hips down and forward. And let's lengthen the left hand toward the front of the knee, the top of the knee. And if possible, this is totally optional. With your other hand, fingers face up, take it to the low back and the top of the glute. And you can start to open the chest, leaning back. Keep breathing. Feel as though the area just below the navel is kind of tucking in and up. And this will make sure that you don't like overarch your lumbar spine. One more breath. And then chin comes back to neutral. Hands down to the mat as you pick up your front toes. Lengthen the chest out and exhale. The nose toward the knee. Smoothing out the breath. Breathing into the back body. Inhale, look up. Flatten the front foot. Hips down and forward. Pick up the arms into a variation of Warrior One. Keeping both feet grounding into the mat. So they're actively pressing down. Not full effort, but maybe 70% effort. And then the area below the navel is tucking in and up. And the breath goes up and down, in and out. And exhale, ground your hands. Tuck the toe behind you. Step back to downward dog. Open those fingers nice and wide. Your index finger should be going straight ahead. Middle finger looking toward the corners of the mat. Lift up and back with your sit bones. Press the thigh bones back. Release the weight of the head and wrap the shoulder blades away from each other. Now let's walk the feet together. Arches of your feet touch. Lift up your right leg. Internally rotate the thigh. And now we're going to bring the knee toward the nose, your shoulders over your wrists, and then plant that foot at the top of your mat. You're going to come down onto that back knee again, and if you have a block, take it into the right hand if needed as you lift your left arm and you kind of hinge laterally to the right side of the mat and perhaps slightly back with the top arm, the side chest. Smooth out the breath. Now come back to square the shoulders and reach around, grab your top elbow and then draw the elbow slightly back as your fingers point down toward your mid-back. You might even lean to the side if you need a little more. Stretch in the tricep, side chest. Yes. And exhale. Hands come down, tuck your back toe. Step into downward dog. Step the arches of your feet together and then lift your left leg nice and high. Pause here. Open the toes, internally rotate the thigh. On an exhalation, bring the knee toward the nose, shoulders over your wrists. Plant that foot at the top of the mat. Lower your knee. If you like the prop, move it to the other side. Lift that top arm and laterally stretch your spine. Open the shoulder. Still working to lengthen that hip flexor of that back leg. Inhale, straighten up, then grab that top elbow with the other hand and draw the elbow back. Breathe into the side chest. Hinge over if needed. Good. Inhale, extend the arms. Exhale, ground them. Tuck your back toe. Step into downward dog. Feet are hip distance apart. And then inhale, come to plank pose. Shoulders over your wrists. And pause here and breathe. Lengthen the back of the neck. Ground your fingertips. The underside of your knuckle. Lengthen through your inner heels as your tailbone is extending back there. Then lower the knees down. The chest slips through the upper arms. And we'll come into cobra, rolling back those shoulders, elbows hugging in tight, tops of your feet grounded. Inhale, come up about halfway. Roll the shoulders down, shoulder blades toward the spine and elbows in. Breathe. Press into the hands, come up a little higher perhaps, keeping the collarbones broad, the chest open. Exhale, come down. Now we're gonna come to Sphinx pose. Take your elbows right under your shoulders, and as you're kind of smudging the elbows back or creating the action as though you're smudging them back, draw the thoracic spine right between the shoulder blades forward. Head is totally neutral. You're grounding the legs. Then we're gonna bend the right knee. I move my left elbow in a touch, and then I reach back and grab that foot. Now, just play with what hand position is going to work for you to help you lengthen your quadricep, okay? So I tend to roll my elbow toward the midline of the body and roll the fingers over the toes, bringing the heel toward the outside edge of the buttocks eventually. Now, we don't want to only stretch, right? With yoga, we're always working like opposing actions. So as one area is getting long, another area stays engaged. So as you're stretching your quadricep, You're also visualizing kind of the head of the right hip bone tucking up, right? Creating a bit of engagement as well. Exhale, release, pause, and then we'll bend the other knee. Reach around with that hand, pick a good hand position to draw that heel toward the outside edge of the buttocks. That extended leg also stays active. You ground the top of the leg into the mat. We're using arm strength to help the heel come closer to the buttocks. We're still lengthening through the inner thigh toward the inner knee, keeping the chest open as well. Always looking to refine and release that down. We're going to do a shoulder opener here, and then we'll go into Dhanurasana. So we did this last week where you're face down, you take one arm out to the side, palm face down, and you want to have the hand in line with your face. So it's kind of slightly up above the shoulder. We internally rotate the arm. So you drop your collarbone down to the floor, eye of the elbow on the floor, and then you start to roll into the shoulder. So you twist your body. I kind of walk my hips toward the middle of the mat and rest your head down and breathe into the front of that shoulder. In the pectoral area in the chest. And one more breath. We're going to roll back onto the belly. Other arm lengthens out. Hand is in line with your face. Internally rotate the arm down. So eye of the elbow into the mat. And begin to twist into the shoulder. Deepening the breath. And roll back onto your belly. Okay, coming into Dhanurasana wheel, we pick up both feet, reach around for the outside edge of your foot or the front of your ankle. Okay, if you don't want to do this, you can do Cobra, you can do Sphinx, one of the previous poses. When you come into this, you want to expand your belly on an inhalation so that the digestive organs recoil to support the low back. So practice an inhalation and feel your abdomen press into the mat. Then exhale, then inhale again. Press the belly into the mat, then point your toes up. Draw back through your feet so it's like they're tugging on the hands. And then we tug on the feet as well to open the chest. Rocking a little bit naturally with your breath. And exhale, come down onto the chin. Oh, release your feet. Totally rest for a moment. The best part of that pose is when you're not doing it, right? When you come out, take your hands up to chest level, and then we'll push into all fours, and we're gonna tuck the toes and come back up to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Really open the underside of your hands, broaden your upper back, wrap those triceps around the humerus bone externally, like you want to lift the eye of the elbow toward your ceiling. Press those thigh bones back, and then we're going to walk the feet up toward the hands. Exhale, hands to your hips. Tuck the tailbone under, and then inhale, come on up to stand. Very good. Let's pick up the right foot. So just pick it up lightly so that you can extend through the tailbone to the grounded foot, feeling your weight kind of shift over. Then we're gonna grab the outside edge of that foot or the front of the ankle, and we're gonna balance here, extending down through your inner thigh toward the inner knee, and then rolling the head of that hip bone, your right hip bone, up and back. Other hand on the hip, balance, and release. Other side. Feel your weight shift, tailbone long, belly in, and then pick up your left foot. Extend the tailbone toward your left inner knee, and then roll the head of your left hip bone back and up. And exhale and release. Shake it out. All right, first round of dancer pose, Nataraja. We're going back to the first side. We start the same way without the use of props for the first one. Keeping your thigh bones close to each other, or your thighs, I mean. Then extend the left arm by the left ear, and you're going to start to kick those toes up and away from the back of your head, pointing them up toward your ceiling, drawing the chest. You do lean forward, but we're always creating the action of the chest opening by lifting through the center of the chest and the inner left arm. Feel your breath, and then bring that thigh to match the standing thigh. They're parallel. Release your foot and your arm. I feel pretty invigorated already. I don't know about you guys. We'll bend the other knee. Extend through the inner knee, and then extend up through the right arm. There's a slight bend in your standing knee, like a micro bend. We're gonna hinge forward, and you're kicking, actively kicking this foot up and back into the hand. Gazing at one point, feeling your breath, lifting your chest, and then exhale, bring that thigh in and stand tall in Tadasana. Awesome. Okay, now you can repeat that without a prop, or if you have a strap, grab it and create a loop in your strap. So you go through both buckles, then you separate the buckles and you go back through the middle, back in between them, and then you have a nice little loop. Okay? Now we're gonna catch the right foot with the strap. I'm gonna turn to the side for this. You're gonna hold the strap in your right hand. Okay, and if this gets complicated, just go back to holding the foot with your hand. Okay, but if you use the strap, the benefit is it becomes a big time shoulder opener. So as you pick up your foot, you want to kind of roll your hand open, palm face up, and I'm going to walk my hand down my strap a little bit. As you lift the other arm, you start to kick that foot up and back, and the elbow rolls out to the side, and then the elbow comes up and stacks over the shoulder. The other hand can reach back for the strap as well. And you can see I'm standing a little more upright, right? I'm not hinging my chest way forward. The classic pose in Light on Yoga by the master Iyengar is the back of, or the sole of that foot touches the back of the head. So we start to lean back. And then we're going to release. Woo! Stand tall. Take a breath, and we'll switch sides. So again, if the strap overcomplicates it, then ditch it. Don't worry about it. If you find a different way to use the strap other than what I'm doing, that is awesome too. right? It's all exploratory. And other side. Again, just in case you're curious and you're trying it out, I take my palm face up. The elbow moves externally away from my body. So you can externally rotate the shoulder, stacking the elbow over the shoulder and walking your hands back down the strap to open the shoulders, open the chest. Yeah, come on out of that. Stand tall in Tadasana. All right, I feel generous. I'm gonna let the cat in out of the wind. Yeah. Okay. From Tadasana, let's inhale the arms up overhead, and we're gonna twist. Exhale your right arm forward, your left arm back. Inhale, come right back to the top. Exhale, twist the other direction. Now we're going to stabilize the hips. So as though your hip bones are like headlights on a car, do not let them move. And then now we twist. Stabilizing the back a little bit here. Inhale, arms up. Your hip bones are like headlights on a car, straight ahead. Twist. Inhale, arms up, palms together. Gazing at the thumbs as they glide through the midline. Tuck the chin. Inhale, look up. And then exhale, step back to downward dog. Take a full breath. With your next exhalation, lower your knees down. Widen them just a touch and rest your forehead in child's pose. Breathe deeply into the belly so that it presses into your thighs when you inhale, and feel as though there's a bit of a weight hanging off the tailbone, descending that down toward the heels. Inhale, begin to lift your face. We're going to come up and cross the ankles and come onto the buttocks. Coming into Navasana, boat pose. So many variations. I kind of want to play with one with the strap. So if you're using a strap today or you have one close, let's take it around the soles of the feet. And if you don't, you just follow along holding your knees or floating your arms. So if you have that strap, loop it around the soles of the feet. Hold the strap close to your feet so your arms are straight and you don't have to use your biceps to do this. Roll the shoulders back, keep those thighs close to the ribs, and we'll start to bring the feet up, shin bones parallel to the floor. You can actively tug on the strap to open the chest and bring the spine in. And perhaps if the hamstrings will allow it, lift those feet, legs straight, toes open wide, tug on the strap to bring the spine in and up. Now notice you don't have to use much abdominal strength if you're tugging on the strap. But just to be curious, start to imagine that you're going to drop this strap now and watch the different areas that engage. And it is not only abdominal strength that's going to float your legs, it's also your thighs, your quadriceps strength. So engage those thighs, lighten up your grip, and then float those hands into boat pose. We're going to come down onto our backs, nice and slow, kind of like a hollow shape. Down, 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 down we go. Coming into bridge pose. Walk those feet up so that they're right on the outside edges of your hips. If you have a ponytail, take it out. And then we're going to ground the palms, lift your hips high. And you can stay here with your palms face down or interlace your fingers, rock side to side. and roll into the outside edges of the arm, the upper arm, ground the forearms, the pinky side of the hand, and work the action of your legs evenly, front and back, inner and outer, by grounding into the four corners of each foot. When you're ready to come down, do so with ease, nice steady movement. Flatten that low back into the mat for a moment and drop your navel down toward the lumbar. Then we're going to straighten out the left leg and draw the right thigh in close. Let it fold across your body into a twist as you open the other arm and gaze to the right. Inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, bring the nose to the knee. Extend that leg out, and then bring in the left thigh, hug it in close, twist it across your body, open the left arm, gaze toward the fingertips. Inhale, come back to the center, and exhale, nose to knee. And then extend those legs out on your mat for Shavasana. Palms face up, back body nice and broad. If you have any kind of gripping in your low back that's bothering you, plant your feet toward the edges of your mat. Let your knees and thighs rest together, and then place your palms on the abdomen for that grounding effect for your low back. Allow your natural breath to return. Soften the corners of your eyes and the skin of the forehead. And let your back body just drop into the support of the earth. Feel the breath moving in and moving out. And soften your jaw. As you drop into stillness in Shavasana. As you deepen your next breath, gently wiggle the fingers and the toes. Bring your knees up and roll to one side. And make your way up to a seated position. And thank you so much for practicing with me. I will be here Wednesday, same time. Have a great day. Namaste. All right, thanks everybody. And thanks for the special request of Nataraja, dancer pose, Pat and Bob. I appreciate it. And have a lovely day. Bye.